Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us for another one of our video blog series posts. Today we want to talk about SMB marketing automation channel trends. We've broken this post into two parts. Another will follow for the sake of time because we've got a lot of material that we want to share and we wanted to get it out quickly to our readers. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the data. We know that the cloud has already been embraced by SMBs, especially at the low end and especially for horizontal and less complicated, less mission critical applications. And as they've done that, their preference has shifted away from the traditional hardware-based channels, the old client-server VAR model, if you will. There are a lot of different reasons for that. What this chart shows, or what this graph is going to show us right now, is that if we look at the different channel and those who currently use marketing automation, those who plan to use marketing automation, there's a weighted average of importance, if you will, for this individual channel. But the interesting information here is that we can see the difference between planning to use and currently use is jumping by a very significant amount here, 9 points between current use and planning to use, almost at the direct loss of that by the internal team. And we're going to talk in detail about why this is happening now that we've got a foundation on what the graph is showing. So the channel's changing a lot based on several different factors. Among the most important are the increasing importance of the digital channel. And by that, what we mean is that the wholesale process and the selection, implementation, and maintenance of these solutions can be done using a digital channel without any physical intervention from a third party. That is much different than the way the world used to be. And basically, if we break it down, starting with the Google search, getting a list of those who are going to provide marketing automation, who do in the market, for example, then being able to shortlist those based on forum input and their individual websites, and then moving on to making a call to the inbound sales center of that vendor, and then having them pick up the ball and using the digital channel to provide links to all of the collateral, the testimonials, the website, the video, all of the information that's needed to make a reasonable decision, and then providing them with a webinar where they can basically talk about how they want to do their own implementation, to a download of a test environment, to the user themselves configuring it over the internet or having somebody help them do that from the vendor side, as well as all of the management of the hardware, the provisioning, the operating system, the server itself, the scalability of the solution. All of these things can be managed without the intervention of a third party or a physical visit by a channel partner. That bodes very well for vendors who are in this business and selling this subscription model that the users love so much. And it bodes really well for the users themselves because they can take more control of their own lives, and they don't need to rely so heavily on third parties to be successful. But it does disintermediate the channel, or has the potential to disintermediate the channel, especially, as we said, with a lot of the acceptance in the market has been the horizontal applications, the ones that are almost a no-brainer, such as Outlook hosting and webinars, and maybe project management like Central Desktop. Relatively easy to implement, configurable through self-service by the end user, not very expensive, very low risk, low upfront cost to get engaged. Those have already found a big acceptance in the market, and there has been some trepidation to move completely with both, jump in with both feet by the users for mission critical applications such as ERP and high-end CRM and supply chain management, for example, where the VAR channels have traditionally made their money by adding substantial value. And we're not really at that stage right now of market acceptance where that can be done as easily. So the VARs and the other people who want to add value are kind of caught in the middle between these horizontal applications and the complex vertical applications and other large-scale enterprise applications, if you will, that are going to follow within the next couple of years. So as that's happened, we've also seen a big decrease in a compression in the sales cycle itself, which essentially means that even for complex decisions on maybe a CRM system, we've seen, our research has shown that people are making decisions in between 2 to 6 weeks because there's no capital budget involved, and because the SaaS or the application vendors or the infrastructure vendors are very specialized. They know how to go in, make the stuff happen very quickly, answer all of the questions around security, cost, implementation timelines. It allows the customer to make very quick decisions. And part of what falls out of that is the fact that once they've made their decision, they're much more likely to go and try to find something of even more value, and then go for a higher level implementation. And that also favors the incumbent channel partner, and we can get into that right now. One of the second big things that we see here in the market is, as we mentioned, the independent consultant gaining a lot of share in the decision, the selection and implementation process. This has happened based on several things. One is that everybody has had to have a commercial quality website. It's been a must-have for several years now, and a lot of that can be done and has been done for small businesses and even medium businesses by an individual who can come in and knows exactly what needs to be done. It's easily configurable, and they can hold the hands of the customer, take IT out of that whole loop of being involved in all of the decisions that need to be made for that. And once that's happened, that inevitably involves using an off-site account where they're going to keep their website, where they're going to have either a dedicated web host or they're going to have some type of off-site infrastructure, a platform, and even their own applications. So going from that stage to one where this independent consultant or the one who's advised them so far can move them toward outsourced email, for example, or a webinar system, or another project management, for example, like Central Desktop, it's not a big leap to being able to do that. Once they're in the driver's seat there as the incumbent, the next time the company needs to move up the ladder, you're going to call that person first. And that does not bode well for the traditional channel, because they get cut out of the loop, and it's very hard for them to be in front of the curve and be the first one on the Rolodex, as it were. So that's another thing that's that's happening and has changed the landscape a little bit. And the third thing that makes a big difference here is the shifting role of IT. And IT is moving from being a cost center, traditionally involved in all of the plumbing and the behind the scenes as a cost center, configuring the servers, configuring the applications, doing application development, doing application tweaking, making sure that the network is up and running, loading software on laptops for everybody, fixing computers, all of that has been, or can be at this point, offloaded to third parties at a very reasonable price, and that's allowed IT's role to move from one of being a tactical fixer to being one that potentially can add a lot of business value to the organization by making sure that these investments in outside services are really achieving the maximum return that they can. So that's been a big also been a big change in the market, and I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about what we've seen in terms of pricing here for SMBs as they adopt marketing automation. We can see very quickly here that based on the size of the company, the amount of spending goes up very, very dramatically. This is based on a couple of things. Mostly it's based on the number of applications or the number of functions that have been turned on within an application, the number of users for that application. Typically will be scaled in price with the vendor. What we see here is in the small market, it ranges from $124 average spending to $725 average spending when you get up to the 50 to 99 category. But we see that the first group within the mid-market, which is 100 to 249, shows a huge jump in the amount, 3 times the amount of average spending in one, between one group and the other. And then that grows again based on the size of the company and will peak out at about $4,000 in the 500 to 999 size category. And what that means is when you do all of the averaging and you weight all the stuff out, you're really looking at $179 for the small businesses, $2,700 for the medium business, and there's so many small businesses it knocks this way down to about $300 overall average. So clearly you're going to be making your money here where the users have between 5 and 10 applications or functions turned on within the marketing automation suite, with anywhere typically between 10 users and 25 users of these systems. So that's kind of a look at how the billing averages move into the market. As I mentioned, there is a second part of this where we'll look at the distribution channels themselves, the SIs and the VARs and the ISVs and the service providers, and get their perspective on this. And given the pressures that we've just talked about, it's not really a surprise that a lot of these channels have had a hard time penetrating the market so far. So we'll get their perspective on that in the next post that we do. And in the meantime, we'd like to invite you to visit TechIsle.com to see more information about this and a lot of other recent and extensive research we have available, including marketing automation adoption and trends, what we've been talking about here, VDI adoption and trends, server virtualization adoption and trends, and BI adoption and trends. All of these surveys have been recently completed with very large sample sizes, and we've got a lot of really good information to share with you. If you click on any one of these, what you're going to see is the answers, the questions that we've answered in these different surveys, our methodology. The deliverable format is PowerPoint, and we also provide soft copy data, and we're very flexible about that because we want to make sure that everybody who needs the data has access to the data that they need the way that they need it in order to build their plans and be successful in how they plan to go to market in the SMB space. So with that, I'm going to wrap up, ask you to join us at TechIsle.com. You can inquire at TechIsle.com, And you can join us also on our blog, which we're in the process of adding new and fresh content on a very regular basis. So if you're in the market to penetrate the SMBs, come and visit us, and we'll be happy to do whatever we can to help you. Thanks so much for your time.